In the 5th century BCE, there was a Greek man who was neither a king nor a warrior, but a storyteller, a rare profession in ancient times. His name was Herodotus, and he spent 8 years traveling across the ancient world, from Egypt, Persia, and Babylon to India, Libya, and many other lands. From this journey, he recorded hundreds of stories, characters, and historical events in his famous work, The Histories, a book considered one of humanity's greatest literary achievements. Herodotus began his journey in Egypt, where he saw the Giza pyramids firsthand and conversed with Egyptian priests. They told him about the construction of this great wonder. Upon returning, he presented his work to the Athenian council and was awarded 250 kilograms of gold, a testament to the significance of his work. But before becoming the father of history, Herodotus was just a curious boy, growing up in a wealthy family in the city of Halicarnassus, then under Persian rule. The event of the Greeks defeating Persia at the Battle of Plataea, when he was 5 years old, prompted him to ask, why was there a war between the Greeks and other peoples? And could he find the origin of that conflict? Herodotus began his historical exploration from the very question that always troubled him. Why was there conflict between the Greeks and other peoples? With the desire to find an answer, he left his hometown of Halicarnassus and headed east to major centers of the ancient world like Susa and Babylon, part of the powerful Persian Empire. In Susa, the winter capital of the Achaemenid Empire, he interacted with Persians and posed that question to them. The Persians told Herodotus an old story. The conflict between the Greeks and Eastern peoples began with the abduction of women. They believed that initially, the Phoenicians, a seafaring people, came to Argos, ancient Greece, to trade, but then kidnapped Io, the daughter of the king of Argos, and took her to Egypt. In retaliation, the Greeks abducted Europa, a Phoenician princess. But they didn't stop there. They continued by abducting Medea, the daughter of the king of Colchis. When Eastern kings demanded compensation, the Greeks refused, arguing that they too had been wronged first. According to the Persians, all these events led to the most famous abduction. Paris, the prince of Troy, abducted Helen from Greece, leading to the Trojan War. That is why Eastern peoples always viewed Greece as a perennial enemy. However, Herodotus didn't stop at one story. He sought out the Phoenicians and heard a completely different version, that the women were not abducted, but voluntarily left their homeland for love. Even Io, who was said to have been abducted, had willingly eloped because she was pregnant by a Phoenician captain. Unsatisfied with both versions, Herodotus continued to investigate and developed his own hypothesis, that the root of the war was not women, but the ambition and power of kings like Croesus of Lydia. According to Herodotus, the first deep-seated cause of the conflict between the Greeks and Eastern peoples did not lie in the stories of abducted women, as told by the Persians or Phoenicians, but began with a man, Croesus, the last king of the Myrmidid dynasty in the kingdom of Lydia, 585 to 546 BCE. Croesus was the wealthiest man of his time and was the first king in history to dare attack Greek city-states, breaking the peace between the Greeks and foreign nations. Before telling about Croesus, Herodotus mentioned a king before him named Candaeus, the one who ended the Heraclid dynasty. Candaeus trusted a courtier named Gyges so much that he even forced him to secretly view his wife naked to boast about the queen's beauty. When discovered, the queen ordered Gyges to choose, either kill the king and become her husband or commit suicide to protect her honor. Gyges killed Candaeus, married the queen, and founded a new dynasty, the Myrmidid house. However, according to the oracle at Delphi, Candaeus' bloodline would be avenged in the 4th generation of Gyges. That prophecy applied to Croesus, the 4th generation descendant. Although wealthy, powerful, and having conquered many Greek city-states like Ephesus, Smyrna, Colophon, he was not as happy as he thought. When the sage Solon of Athens visited, Croesus asked who was the happiest man in the world. Solon replied it was not Croesus, but an ordinary man named Tellus, who lived his life fully with his children and died gloriously in battle. Croesus was disappointed, but Solon advised that no one could be called happy until after their death. That answer became a fateful prophecy, initiating Croesus' series of tragedies when he lost his son, his kingdom, and ultimately his throne to Cyrus the Great. After the conversation with the sage Solon, King Croesus of Lydia began to experience a series of tragedies fulfilling the warning. One night, he dreamed that his son, Aedes, an excellent warrior, would die from an iron spear. Fearing the prophecy would come true, Croesus immediately withdrew Aedes from the battlefield, married him off, and removed all weapons around him. At the same time, a stranger named Adrastus, a Phrygian noble who had accidentally killed his brother, came seeking purification and refuge in Lydia. Croesus agreed and assigned Adrastus the task of protecting Aedes when he requested to hunt a wild boar that was destroying crops. Despite fearing the dream, Croesus allowed his son to go, thinking that boars don't use spears. However, during the chaotic hunt, Adrastus accidentally threw a spear that struck Aedes, killing him, just as the prophecy had foretold. Croesus was devastated but ultimately forgave Adrastus, considering the tragedy as fate. Adrastus, unable to bear the guilt, committed suicide. While Croesus was in mourning, he received news that Cyrus the Great of Persia had just ascended the throne after overthrowing his grandfather. Fearing Lydia would be the next target, Croesus sought an oracle from Delphi and received the answer: if you wage war, a great empire will fall. Confident of victory, Croesus launched an attack on Cyrus, but suffered a crushing defeat at the Battle of Sardis. He was captured alive and placed on a pyre. At that moment, he recalled Solon's words, "No one is called happy until after death," and cried out his name in tears. Cyrus, moved, ordered the fire extinguished, but it was too late. Croesus then prayed to Apollo, and according to Herodotus, rain fell, saving him from the flames. Admiring Croesus' faith and wisdom, Cyrus spared his life and made him a close advisor. After Cyrus the Great spared his life and accepted Croesus as an advisor, the Lydian king began to accompany Cyrus in his conquests. The next target for Cyrus was Babylon, the greatest and most fortified city of ancient times. The Babylonians anticipated the attack and stockpiled food, closed the city gates, and prepared for a prolonged siege. On the way to Babylon, Cyrus's army encountered the Gendis River. When one of his sacred horses was swept away by the river, Cyrus became enraged and declared he would punish the river. He ordered the digging of 360 canals to divide the river, causing it to dry up, allowing his troops to cross easily. Approaching Babylon, Cyrus realized that a direct assault would fail due to the city's strong walls and formidable defenses. After nearly a year of being mocked from the city walls, he employed a bold strategy, diverting the Euphrates River, which flowed through the city. When the river's water level dropped, the Persian army used the dry riverbed to slip under the city walls and infiltrate Babylon at night. The Babylonians were completely caught off guard because the city's vast size delayed the spread of news. Cyrus successfully captured the city and became king of the four corners of the world, conquering the entire Mesopotamian region. Herodotus also recorded a strange custom in Babylon. Annually, all maidens of marriageable age were brought to the square, and men bid to marry them. Beautiful girls fetched high bids, while less attractive ones were sold with funds from previous auctions. After the city's conquest, this custom gradually degenerated, with the poor selling their daughters to survive. From here, the Persian Empire under Cyrus's leadership continued to expand, laying the foundation for that